would it be hard for you to give us like 3 to 5 things that every married couple could do?
I can give my personal opinion.
Yeah, for sure.
And it has a professional flavor to it.
Yeah, I want it. I want 3 to 5 things that every married couple can do to enjoy sex right now, today. Like they could pause this pod and go find out. Like,
they ain't gonna be easy. Okay, I'm just saying.
Okay, they don't have to be easy either. They ain't gotta be easy either.
First,
and I'm glad they're not easy, right? Because most people.
First of all, that'd be cheap. If you don't want easy answers, you want easy, cheaper sex.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. I don't.
You want the good stuff, you got to work at it.
That's exactly right. Good food takes longer to prepare.
Yeah. First and foremost is to prioritize safety.
It's great.
Prioritize safety. You can't play if you're not safe. You want to play, you got to create safety.
That is just, yes.
Period. And what's safe for you may not be safe for your partner.
So we have to mutually agree.
Yeah, I have couples do an exercise sometimes. It's kind of like the adult version of red light, green light. Mm-hmm. But I have them do like, and I do use colors and all sorts of things sometimes, but I have them like create categories like green, yellow, and red. Mm-hmm. And I have them individually fill out like, these are all the activities. And I like to use that word activities because there are sexual activities. We've got a lot of wide variety of definitions out there. So these are just the sexual behaviors and activities that they're a green light for me. They bring up no hesitation for me. I do not, it doesn't bring anything up in my body. Now, I will say my big caveat with this is if there's a history of pain and hurt or trauma, some people are not able to assess this for themselves.
Understood.
So this is not something that just everybody can pick up and do.
Yeah, for sure.
So if you're curious if you and or your loved one are capable of doing this, like go work with, at least for a session, a professional.
Yeah, for sure.
And get some feedback, because some people, again, they've disconnected their alarm system. So just because the house is quiet, they think it's safe, but it's not.
Right.
So, but if you're fairly grounded and aware, to prioritize safety, like put all the like sexual activities and behaviors in the green category kind of on a list. And then yellow's like, maybe there's a tiny bit of hesitation. I'm pausing. So I'm going to put them in the yellow. We'd like proceed with caution. Mm-hmm. And then red. Mm-hmm. And then you guys sit down, and I think you know this about me, Tim, but like I'm almost militant when I teach my couples to communicate.
Yep.
So obviously my preference is that they would know how to talk to each other when they do this. But
right. We're just putting it out there.
Just putting it out there.
We're just putting it out there.
But then you share those.
Yep.
And anywhere where there's overlap in the green, play out, live in the green.
I love
Quit
it.
worrying about what's in the yellow and red and has come off the table, at least momentarily, until we figure out what's going on there.
That's good.
Live it up in the green. What overlaps in the green for you guys? Like play.
Yes.
You get to know, like we freely can move about the green and enjoy each other.
Yeah.
So that's one way to find the shared safety. Mm-hmm. But there are other things, like you need to be cultivating a context of safety.
Yep.
So when I say prioritize safety, it's not just sexual behaviors and activities. It is the whole of the relationship.
Yeah, for sure.
And so if you did nothing but that, you'd have a better sex life.
Wow.
Because if you're safe, think about this. Think about the ripple effect.
That's so true.
If you're safe, we can negotiate differences.
If
you're safe,
that's exactly right.
We can explore and play.
That's exactly right.
If you're safe, we can go through seasons where we're like, I don't know, my body's not working, like there's stuff going on, like, but we're safe. Like,
yeah, exactly.
You can navigate anything in the context of a safe relationship.
That's exactly right.
So it's just foundational to anything else.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
love that.
The second one is learn to communicate.
Yep.
Which I feel like is the conduit for building safety. So I don't know, maybe they're the same.
Yeah, no. I think there's a difference between establishing safety and then communication in that safety.
And I've worked with professional communicators.
Yeah.
Who were terrible relational communicators. Terrible.
Take your time, girl. Take your time.
So just because you are good, clarity and connection are not the same thing. And the transaction that happens in business is not the same thing as the intimacy that needs to be happening in a relationship. So we're talking about a different type of communication.
Wow.
And if you are not using your feeling words, you are not connecting.
Ooh, you just exposed and helped a lot of relationships at the same time.
Yeah, a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, but we're on the same page. I'm like, yes, y'all run a well-oiled ship in your house. And not a single bit of that is connecting.
Wow.
Because like everything's just so smooth, everything's so easy. And I'm like, but you don't feel connected. I'm like, yes, and we can't figure it out. I'm like, do you ever use feeling words?
Wow. With each other.
With each other.
Yeah,
or in general. But with each other.
Yeah.
Do you get into vulnerable stances? So, I mean, I could go off on communication, but communication that is connecting and vulnerable. If you are always talking about somebody else and asking about somebody else, and that somebody else might be the person that you love, you are not connecting, because you only connect when you share about yourself and get into vulnerability. I know a lot of people who are like connecting personalities, like real, like relationally oriented, but they are always talking about everybody else. Like you sit down and have coffee and they are always talking about you. And I'm like, I don't know who you are. Which eventually, this is really interesting. I've worked with marriages that have one of those personalities in there. And I'm like, that becomes a skew and a power dynamic eventually. If you know everything about them, but they don't know anything about you, you could look and sound loving. That's power dynamic.
Wow.
Because you're not known. None of your stuff's on the table.
Wow.
So intimate, vulnerable communication.
Of oneself to the other.